Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
We need to remember who Christmas is all about. We need to put Christ back in Christmas. Jesus is still the reason for the season, and to all, Merry Christmas. Good morning, here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Morning, 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 Merry Christmas. Thank you very much, and good morning. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland and Burley. And our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Get rid of your garbage. Call them at 734-6969. Well, she has already peered into my studio this morning and complimented me on my shirt. However, I won't tell you where the hole is. But good morning, Gina.
And I don't even want to hazard to guess. Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Kind of sort of freaking out because, only 8 days left until Christmas.
I know it. This is exactly a week from Christmas Eve.
Yes, it is. And you and I already discussed we're sweating bullets.
Yeah, 357s we talked about. Man, I'll tell you what, I got so much to do, and my lovely bride started baking and cooking yesterday.
Oh, she did?
And this house smelled like heaven. If there's heaven on earth, it was in her kitchen yesterday.
Did you get to sample anything?
Not much.
What?
There was the threat of death. There was a skull and crossbones hung around her neck.
Did she at least let you lick a spoon or something?
Are you kidding me? I did get one cookie. One cookie is all I got.
One.
Yeah.
Just one.
And she was a little tentative to let me have that. Anyway, do we have a pledger?
We do. We have Kilt Man on for the pledge and Mr. Michael Rogers on for the weather.
Okay. Kilt Man, good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, there is the man. Good morning, Kilt Man. God bless you, and I certainly hope you have a wonderful day.
You too, my friend. Merry Christmas.
All right, Merry Christmas. Thank you. It is time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. All you have to do is look for their blue door. And, of course, the very best of carpet and flooring and kitchen construction and home decorations and decor. Whatever you need to make your house a home, just get with Kyle and Whitney Cheney. Wonderful people, and they've got a whole bunch of new refurbished furniture. You better check it out at Cheney Flooring and Home Design and look for the blue door in Burley on Oakley Avenue. Here is Michael Rogers' weather.
That time of year with the big question every year since I've been with Zeb at the Ranch, when we get to December and there's no snow on the ground, are we going to get a white Christmas? I say no. The Vegas guys say 25-1. The weather service says not a chance. We'll see what happens. Because you want to know what, folks? Weather can't read. Always remember that. Good morning. Cloudy 40 for the high today, maybe about 45. 27 for the overnight low. Chance of snow tomorrow, mixed in with some rain. Come out of it on Friday. Saturday, back to it again with cloudy conditions, slight chance of the big S word. Other than that, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
He's the best. MichaelRogersWeather.com, brought to you this hour by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Oh, we have got a lot of things to get taken care of here this morning, so bear with us, and we're going to get into some of our stories in just a moment. First and foremost, I also want to remind you about Valley Wine Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. They're having a big sale this weekend. A huge sale this weekend at Valley Wine Home and Ranch, right before Christmas. And all you have to do is just check with the store for details. And I'm telling you, it's going to be so cool to have you there at this big sale this weekend at Valley Wine Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. It's going to be a huge sale this weekend, Valley Wine Home and Ranch. Did that get through? Huge sale. Also, I want to remind you that your furnace is sitting down there in the basement all by itself, kind of just playing solitaire and waiting for you to turn up the thermostat. And when you do, you expect that furnace to just jump right into action and give you the efficiency of great heat. Well, doggone it, give your furnace a little break. You know, buy a quality air filter and make sure that you've got the best of air filters so that the furnace can do the best job for you. Now, you can buy one or a package of quality air filters at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, where they always provide warm winters and cool summers at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Nobody, absolutely nobody in this government, no one in the White House, especially Obama, and no one else will call this mess and major problem what it is. Saddenly, that we saw over 141 people, most of them children, that were shot and murdered by the Taliban. And all our president and White House staffers, including Josh Earnest, all they would say was these were violent extremist groups. Most people in the media that know what's going on are absolutely, they're just furious over the lack of calling it what it is. These are Muslim and Islamic terrorism extremists. And they are killing and not being called what they really are. There was no mention of the Taliban. There's been no mention of Al-Qaeda. We are cowardly. We are so cowardly through this administration. And that leads me up to the next story that I've got to get in here this morning. Did you hear, and this is absolutely unbelievable, that there is a new movie out? It's a comedy. It is a farce. It is a comedy with a couple of actors that are fairly well known, Josh Rogan, and I, for the life of me, can't think of the other gentleman's name. I will in a minute. It'll come to me. And it's called The Interview. And basically what the movie is about sending these two incompetents over to North Korea and taking out the fat little leader of North Korea. Well, North Korea is absolutely teed off. And now they have made threats. Honestly, I can't make this stuff up. It's in all the papers. It's absolutely a headline story. North Korea is threatening the United States with a 9/11 type terror plot if this movie is shown in various theaters. And we're caving in. I am not making this up. You can look it up yourself. Just go to the newspaper, go to anything you want. The United States is caving in, and they're canceling a lot of the screenings of this movie. Let me reiterate. It's a comedy. It is a comedy. And the North Koreans are holding us at bay, and we're kowtowing to them. And basically, they're winning. Ladies and gentlemen, simply put, now, we're being dictated to by other countries that don't like certain things done, and so they make a threat, and we limp off in the corner like a dog that has just been beaten, and we cancel to appease them. This is not the United States of America that I grew up in. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Surely you must have an opinion on this. This is outrageous. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. They've got all the equipment to get any job done right. Absolutely. Barry Equipment and Rental with 3 locations, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln in Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And they've got a used high-lift loader. It's a K621E with 6,100 hours. Great price. All you have to do is call Jordan Johnstone at 316-6763. 316-6763. This is absolutely a great piece of equipment. Barry Equipment and Rental, always serving you with the equipment that'll get the job completed. You get a hold of them today in Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Barry Equipment and Rental. Also, don't forget to Merry Christmas wishes from our friends at Denny's Restaurant. Oh, boy, I look forward to going to Denny's. We had Thomas on the air the other day, as a matter of fact. Great interview. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. And they've got 2 locations now serving you. 611 Overland in Burley and on Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. And they are busy, always serving you with the best of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And don't forget, tomorrow, on Thursday, we're going to be giving away at about 9:12 tomorrow morning a certificate for you to build your own Grand Slam breakfast at Denny's Restaurant. It's good either in Burley or Twin Falls. Oh, you don't want to miss this. Denny's Restaurant, absolutely delicious. Calls are welcome and appreciated, and I'm really surprised people aren't speaking out about this. Can you imagine that we, the United States of America, supposedly the leader of the world. Everybody looks up to us, they did in the past anyway, with respect and awe as to how powerful and how good we are. And we are being dictated to by that fat little dictator in North Korea, Kim Jong-un. And now they don't want the movie shown. And please remember, it is a farce. It's a comedy. And is comparable to, remember the old Police Story movies and, the farce attitude they had with some of the world's leaders like the Queen of England and others? Oh, for heaven's sakes. And now we're caving in because North Korea made threats of violence that if we show a movie that we made, there could be another 911. They've got us. They have won. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. I see this coming ever since they took and when Mr. Truman fired General MacArthur because he wanted to go across the 38s and wipe that crap out. And it's been going downhill ever since. For good hell almighty, people, wake up to the fact. We're being led down a path of death and destruction, and you let a president take 14 days to go to Hawaii for his vacation while we go to hell.
Actually, it's going to be 17, and then your phrase picks up from there, and I agree with you. Here's the deal, Al. You have served our country, and you know about this country, its attitude, and the old don't tread on me flag, etc. How in the world could we stoop this low and bend over for these people and not release a movie, not show a movie that is nothing more than a comedy? And North Korea is offended by it, so they tell us not to show it, and they're canceling it. They're canceling it.
That's because you're letting a little dictator that don't know, he ain't got a 3rd grade education, I don't think. And we're just bound down because, we don't want to offend these people. Look what the hell they do to us. They keep threatening us all the time across that damn border, and they've never called a ceasefire and all that. It's put on hold. If they want to come across there and shoot us, they can still do it because it has never been finalized. that we won the war.
Yeah.
We didn't win it.
This is so insane to me, and the stars of this movie, Seth Rogen and James Franco, they have even had their appearances canceled on The Tonight Show and many other shows so that they can't promote the movie. We're running scared, Al. What are we going to kowtow to next?
Well, I don't know. Let's leave it up to Pelosi and Feinstein and people like that. I mean, they can sit there and blab all they want about how the terrible United States is, yet they're not helping the cause a damn bit. Fact is, they're making it worse.
I'm just absolutely, I told Deanne this morning, I just can't imagine that this country in 6 years under this terrible leadership with Obama has sunk this low, that now a movie, a doggone comedy, can't be shown because somebody might be offended by it, and they threat of another 911 over showing a comedy movie.
Well, I say if they want to, really get right down to the nitty-gritty, let's put some more military forces together, and this time go in there and kick the living hell out of them little knuckleheads and kick them back across 38th, and we'll take the whole damn country.
I don't even know what to say about some of the things that are coming across my desk this morning with some of these news stories. Al, God bless you and Merry Christmas.
I'm just sick and tired of it. Everything has to come around on the last day of the month and the last day of the week, and right around Christmas they try to make it just as damn rough as they can, and I'm getting sick and tired of these so-called politicians. Nice guys till they're elected, then what do they turn into? A bunch of boneheaded jackasses.
Amen on the boneheaded donkey part. I appreciate that. Thanks, Al. God bless.
Okay.
All right, thanks. I'm absolutely without words right now that what are they going to say in the future? No, we don't want any reruns of MASH. Yeah, think about it. Alan Alda and the rest of them with the sitcom about what happened over in that neck of the woods. And supposing Kim Jong-un calls up the State Department and says, now that we've stopped this movie, we do not want any reruns of MASH because it puts us in a bad light. Are we going to kowtow again? Think about it. Don't forget our friends at Snyder Surplus. Oh my, they have everything. That is really the catch-all for you to get in there to Snyder Surplus at 112 South, 200 West of Rupert. You ought to go in there and just have some fun with them and name some things, and they'll go, yep, got it, yep, got it, yep, got it, yep, got it. And then all of a sudden you're going to say, gee, I can't stump them. They've got everything over at Snyder Surplus. And they're the nicest people. And Leland and Tammy serving you, and they've got a brand new building, brand new merchandise, and the same great friendly service. Always taking care of you at Snyder's Surplus, 112 South, 200 West of Rupert. You stop in and see them today, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Also, real fast, I want to remind you about what's going on at Quali's Electronics. Holy smokes, I talked to Bruce yesterday, and they are busy at 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. My goodness, they've extended their hours, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 on Saturdays for Christmas, and you can get a Samsung 55-inch smart LED TV for just $749. What? Just $749. Listen to this. A Samsung 32-inch LED TV for just $219. Oh, my. You'd better run. Don't walk. Run into Quali's Electronics right now. 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Wow. That is saving you a lot of money at Quali's. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, real quick, too, I want to remind you, if you haven't done your Christmas shopping yet and you're looking for some other ideas, don't forget the wonderful, and I underline that word wonderful, these are keepsakes for generations to come, Gary Shoresman books. Fantastic books for the history buff, fantastic books for the coffee table, fantastic books for your family to pass on down generations to come. You can buy these books at the bookstore on the square in Rupert and Minidoka County Museum. Don't forget Gary Shoresman and his great, great books on sale for Christmas at the bookstore on the square and Minidoka County Museum. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Seriously, when I mentioned MASH, the TV series a little bit ago, about the fighting over in South and North Korea, are we going to have them call and say, cancel that, even though it's a sitcom TV series that was Emmy Award winning for years? We find it offensive and now cancel it. Don't play it anymore. That could happen. And if they, the North Koreans, have this kind of swagger and this kind of bullying attitude to belly up to the bar against the United States and tell us that we can't release a comedic movie called The Interview, something's going on, folks. This is much more important than the possible cancellation, and in many cities, cancellation of showing that movie. We've lost it. We have lost it if we are being dictated and told what to do by foreign countries. Where is the John Wayne attitude? Where is the heck you say, hey, go sit down and shut up and raise your hand to go to the bathroom and don't talk to us until we let you talk to us? Where's that attitude that used to purvey itself? It's gone. If we're letting a little fat Pillsbury Doughboy dictator tell us what we can and can't do, I'm outraged, and I thought the phones would be absolutely ringing off the hook with your outrage of you and I being told what to do by North Korea. Unbelievable. Don't forget your friends, and they're all of our friends, and I just am really proud to have Scou's CarQuest Centers on our program, and Jeff and the rest of the crew, these people, none better. At Scou's CarQuest Centers, customer satisfaction is always the goal, and I know that Jeff and the folks over there, they always care about their people that come in the door, people that they're doing service work for, and they work extremely hard to provide excellent service that you've grown to expect since 1949. Every detail matters at Scou's CarQuest Centers, where you can find all your automotive replacement products, accessories, and supplies for virtually every vehicle. Every detail matters. 3 locations, 518 Overland in Burley, 323 East 8th and Highway 25 in Rupert, and exit 211 I-84. I'm telling you, Scou's CarQuest Centers and excellence. Now there is a winning team. We are going to have a Capital Press Ag Minute. Now, caller, I apologize. I asked for your call, and then it's rudeness on my part, but I have a very strong commitment to be on time, and I'm going to ask you to wait 60 seconds. That's it, 60 seconds, and we'll get the Capital Press Ag Minute in, brought to everybody by Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, where they're offering where you can bring in 2 canned or non-perishable food items to help those in need. And you'll get $10 more per ton for scrap iron, and 5-cent bonus on aluminum at Pacific Steel and Recycling. They bring you the Capital Press Ag Minute.
The Capital Press Ag Minute is brought to you by OnlyAg.com.
Agricultural advocates say the recently approved $1.1 trillion federal spending bill contains several provisions that are good for farmers. The American Farm Bureau Federation supports the bill and issued an analysis of key provisions. Farm Bureau supports the $2.7 billion allocation for the Agricultural Research Program and the $49.14 million included in spending to the USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. Farm Bureau also allows the allocation of $2.4 billion for rural development programs, a provision to include fresh white potatoes in the federal Women, Infant, and Children Nutrition Program, and language to block EPA from implementing a rule many feared would increase regulations on farming practices.
To receive instant, exclusive, unlimited access to the West Agricultural News Source, register your account today at CapitalPress.com.
Oh, thank you very much. And once again, Pacific Steel and Recycling, wonderful people helping those in need at 320 West Main Street in Burley, 678-2321. Caller, I apologize. Thank you very much for your patience.
You talk about deterioration. Boy, this country is deteriorating. Something terrible. What in the hell is wrong with our Congress? I know what's wrong with our president. But guys like John Boehner, he's a turncoat.
Fred, I agree with you. I'm just sitting here trying to go through all these stories every day, and the Republican Guard, if you will, absolutely has let me down. The people like John Boehner, you said it very succinctly, turncoats against what should be done. It's the good old boys in the good old vein doing the same good old deal, and I'm fed up with it. But then we hear stories about how we have to cancel a movie. It's nothing more than a farcical comedy movie. We have to cancel it because it might offend.
What the hell's happening?
I don't know.
I mean, this is unreal to me.
You're a veteran, and God bless you for your service to this country. I mean, you, of anybody, could have an opinion as to why we've sunk so low that we're on our knees and begging for forgiveness from these other countries when we should be standing tall and telling them to go to hell.
Well, who in the hell give them the right to shut it off? I mean,
I don't know.
That President Obama? Or our Congress, or who?
We have weakened because of their threats. We have weakened because of what they say they might do. And I'm telling you, Fred,
What they might do? Hell, knock them off the face of the earth.
I could not agree with you more. I am so sick and tired of us becoming the whipping post for the world's problems. I'm fed up with it.
I can't believe it, Zeb.
I can't either, Fred.
Believe what's happening to our country.
I can't either. I can't either.
Regime, I can't. This is unreal. Something like this. I know it's going to hell, but this is going to hell in the handbag.
I agree. Fred, on behalf of Deanna and I, to you and Joyce, please know that we extend to you the very best of Merry Christmas wishes. God bless you both. Thank you.
And God bless you and Deanna.
Thank you very much. You know, there's a veteran that served his country. There are many veterans out in the audience that have served this country. You know, I think of all the veterans that I know, and I'm thinking of one in particular right now. I'm not going to mention names. And he is a Purple Heart winner 3 times. I wonder what his thoughts are as we basically cower in the corner to other countries. Oh, did we offend you? Oh, well, we're so sorry. We won't do it. We won't do it. We're sorry. We'll take that movie and we won't show it. We'll make sure that the stars of that movie are not on television promoting the movie. Oh, we're so sorry. Oh, you threatened us with another attack like 911. Oh, please forgive us. Are we going to live in fear? Are we going to live in an attitude of, well, boy, we better have a review every day of what we're doing, because if we tee somebody off, we might get a threat that they're going to do something to us? Is that America? Calls welcome, 436-2244. I've got to get on with another subject right now to a very dear friend, and that's Randy Hardy. And Randy, if you're there, I apologize to keep you waiting. I am just so mad over our lack of American attitude. I apologize. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I've got to dial him first.
Oh, okay. Well, he'll be right on the phone with us. Randy Hardy's going to be on, and we're going to talk about another subject. And I just want to quickly give some of our Merry Christmas wishes. Burley Glass, 1029 Overland and Burley, with Gentle Ben and the crew with the best of windows to keep the cold air out and the warm air in. Western Windows. They wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. 1029 Overland in Burley. Also, Sandy Sewing Center. This lady knows all about sewing, and she can fix sewing machines. She's got a great, gigantic selection of fabric. I mean, she is absolutely amazing. Sandy Sewing Center at 1234 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Merry Christmas. Along with our friends at Easy Money Pawn and Auto at 200 Overland in Burley, and they're having a Christmas toy drive where you can bring in an unwrapped toy and enter to win one of their 3 packages for Christmas. They are wonderful people at Easy Money Pawn and Auto, 200 Overland in Burley, wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas. Let's check with Gina and see if we have Randy ready to go.
Got him.
Thank you very much. Randy, I want to apologize to you. First and foremost, for me, I was up on a soapbox a little bit this morning about a subject that just absolutely infuriated me, and I apologize keeping you waiting. Tell us real quick, what's going on with the potato nationally and the WIC program? I think you've got some good news.
It sounds to me like you need to sit down in front of a big baked potato with some sour cream and cheese on it.
You just tell me where, and I'll guarantee you there will be 2 people there, Deanne and I both. We love them. Thanks.
No, I'm with you on your soapbox. I quite enjoyed that. No, we had some exciting news, which is somewhat tied to the budget that we kind of begrudgingly saw pass, but this wasn't really part of the exorbitant spending budget, but the money that was associated with the WIC program was tied to the budget in as much as the money for the Farm Bill was in it. But the provisions that Congress was able to get in there is that those funds would not be released to the WIC program unless white potatoes were included in that program. And that was kind of a backdoor way of getting them in there, but we did get them in there. So after a 9-year hiatus, finally white potatoes are back in the WIC program, and we're really excited about that. Not because of the potatoes that are going to be sold through it, but more the opinion that the potatoes are bad for you, and we all know that's contrary. So I think we're back where we're supposed to be.
You know, Randy, I read and I cut out about every story I could find on this, and from USA Today to the Wall Street Journal to the Times News and everything else. And it seems like even our local Times News made some snide remarks about the potato being put in the WIC program. Here we have one of the most nutritious vegetables in the entire world, and people are being snide against it, saying, well, these people that are on WIC programs and low-income people, why, they shouldn't be making French fries, why, they shouldn't be eating potatoes. What right in this society that's supposed to be free do we have to tell anybody what they can and can't eat? Are you still there, Randy? I lost him.
No,
I'm trying back.
Oh, there you go. There we go. I think. There he is.
No, that's very true. They're becoming more intrusive in a lot of areas, and we see it happening with the school lunch program, and how our students are being deprived of nourishment simply because the White House thinks that we're eating too much fat. But we have sense enough to know what we need to be eating.
Randy, about the school lunch programs, I'm glad you brought that up, because the other day I saw some pictorial reviews of various schools, one in Massachusetts, one in Florida, and they took snapshots of what some of these kids are getting to eat at the lunch hour. My goodness, Randy, by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you and I would have to go back and eat the plastic tray. There's nothing on there.
Yeah, I think you're right, and what is on there is not doesn't look hardly edible. It is disgraceful.
Now, what about the future of the potato? I know a lot of states, whether it's Maine, whether it's Idaho, it doesn't make any difference. There is a lot of people that are pulling for the potato. Would Congress, with a new president in 2016, God help us, it's not Hillary, could this be revoked, or is this pretty much going to stay there on the WIC program?
It could be revoked. Every 5 years, the Institute of Medicine releases a review of the nutritional benefits of all foods that are included in WIC. And so potatoes go through that review every 5 years, and it's been kind of interesting since this discussion's been going on that they've actually moved the review for potatoes up, and we don't know whether that was their request or the White House's. But the interesting thing about it is a few years ago, the potato industry put together an organization in Washington, D.C. called APRI. That's this acronym, but it's the Alliance for Potato Research and Education, and we have a very experienced lady at the head of that named Maureen Story, who has worked in the snack food industry and soda pop industry and has a wealth of background behind her, and she's assembled a team back there to gather research on the nutrition and value of potatoes. They have been invited to the table to discuss the nutritional qualities of potatoes, which is a first to have the potato industry itself recognized in its own review. So we feel really good about that. And I think the facts are going to lay themselves out for themselves that the potatoes will stay in the program once again.
I want to have you give a little shout out to the great job, and I know you don't want to pat yourself on the back, but I will. You and your lovely wife have done so much for the promotion of the potato, and now correct me with the terminology if I'm wrong, President of the National Potato Council, and now you are going to another title. What is that? There's been a slight change.
Well, I've been appointed to be on the Idaho Potato Commission, which is exciting for me because the experience I've gained in these national organizations only helped me to be able to benefit our own state organization. And I'm really proud of the Idaho name and the brand that we have to sell nationally. And so I'm looking forward to that. That's a 3-year appointment with an opportunity to go another 3 years beyond that. But, that just started this late fall.
Well, I want to extend to you, Randy Hardy, and your family, wonderful people, the merriest of Christmases, and please know that I'm really proud to know you for all the great job that you've done for agriculture and the potato industry in specific. Thank you so much, and Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you, Zeb, for all your help, and it has meant a lot, and Merry Christmas to you, too.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. Just wonderful people, the Hardys over there at Oakley, and they've done so much for the promotion of the potato, and I thank them for coming on the program this morning. Thank you very much. Real quick, and we'll take some more calls in regards to this kowtowing and bowing down and bending over for other countries because they may not like something we do. Oh, heaven help us. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if they got a bakery over there, oh, wow. Bakery for the best of wedding cakes and cookie bars, homemade bread, delicious cinnamon rolls. You ought to see their scones. Holy smokes. They're the size of a bicycle tire. Anyway, you got to get over there and enjoy the great food. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert, waiting to serve you. Let's have a weather forecast real quick, shall we? And the weather is brought to you by some folks that are just up the street from Sophie's, as a matter of fact, and that's Mad River Laser. And she can make all kinds of wooden Christmas ornaments and wooden business cards, and I just saw what she's making with these beautiful necklaces. Oh, my, what a nice job. And the T-shirts are on sale. They got a big T-shirt sale, and home decor Christmas items are 25% off. All of this at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Really, really nice people. Here's Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is Zeb at the ranch. Good morning. Cloudy chance of meatballs for today. I've always wanted to say that. There's a movie called Cloudy Chance of Meatballs. Well, that's what you got for today. You got a chance for a lot of meatballs for tomorrow. Cloudy today. Temperatures still pretty much holding up like it did throughout much of the week with daytime highs in the mid-to-upper 40s. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Other than that, chance of snow for tomorrow. Come out of it on Friday. Looking pretty darn good. Got partly sunny conditions, then you walk right back in with cloudy conditions. Chance of rain, flat snow for Saturday and Sunday. Enjoy the weather. Snow and weather you got.
Thank you very much. Michael Rogers Weather, brought to you by Mad River Laser. Nicole and the crew at 502 E Street in Rupert. Don't you, as Americans, especially our veterans and their families, and aren't you just absolutely outraged that we are being dictated to as to what we can go see at a movie theater because it might offend North Korea? Aren't you absolutely sickened that this country will not come out and say that we're suffering through a terrible ordeal with Islamic terrorism? And the president comes out, as does his spokesman for the White House, Josh Earnest, and they will never call it what it is, and they just say violent extremism. I don't know why. This is a big deal to me. I am so thankful I live in this great country. And I am so proud of the service of my father and my uncle and relatives before them and my buddies that served, many that didn't come home from Vietnam, and all the other wars and conflicts that America's soldiers have fought to preserve our freedom, and that we are the best country in the world. And now we're apologizing for a movie and canceling the screening of the movie for fear that it might upset North Korea. I'm just sitting here shaking my head this morning. I honestly don't know what to say. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. You know, the pioneer spirit went out with Ronald Reagan. Right now, everything is under control of a bunch of leftists in this country, our colleges. Look what Obama's putting up in the cabinet now. Some guy that wants to, in the medical field, he wants to strip our guns away from us. I mean, you can see where this country's going. And we've got more and more riots going on in our cities, inspired by guys like Al Sharpton. The next thing you know, we're going to have martial law to stop what's going on.
You know,
cities are going to be destroyed just one at a time.
I could not agree with you more, Tony. And I don't know if you heard this, but I got to share this with you real quick. That Mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, is now going to start apologizing for the city of New York being too white over the many years. And they are seriously considering, and I'm not making this up, they are seriously considering taking down some of the white leadership portraits of people that have served New York City. It might be Mayor Rudy Giuliani, I don't know who it might be, and replacing their portraits with portraits of maybe blacks or Hispanics or Asians, even though those people were not an integral part of New York City and the management of the city. And they are apologizing for white achievement. I don't know about you, Tony, but I've had enough. This is ridiculous.
Well, this de Blasio, he feels that at some point the minorities in this city are going to put up in as a congressman up there in Washington, D.C., and this is exactly where this guy is going.
But as far as canceling a farce, a comedy, a joke, a movie called The Interview, and canceling it because it might offend North Korea, oh my gosh, Tony, have we sunk that far?
Yes, we have. Foreign countries have so much control over our country right now because we've got a knucklehead like Barack Obama up there. And these people that put them in there, I hope they've seen what they've done to this country.
I honestly and firmly believe this next statement that I'm going to make to you. I honestly believe if Ronald Reagan were still the president, and this issue came up about a comedy, a movie comedy, he would call Kim Jong-un and say, if you don't like it, that's tough. Hey, why don't you fly over and we'll go to the movie together? I mean, I don't think Reagan would give this an eyelash of any support whatsoever.
Oh, no, he wouldn't. Obama, I'm surprised he hasn't gone up to North Korea and got on his knees in front of this little screwball they got up there and begged for forgiveness.
Tony, the very best and merriest of Christmas to you and Mary. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dad. Bye.
Wow. I just can't believe this. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Basically, the White House has already put up a white flag, and you got Valerie Jarrett, that's a Muslim. You've got several top people in the administration up there that are Muslims, and so this is why they're not going to say anything about the Islamic threat, because I'm sorry, but they're part of it.
Yeah, but explain to me.
They don't want to take a stand against their own religion.
Yeah, but Adrian, explain to me, please, how a movie that was a comedy, that's how it's being billed and sold, the interview, it's nothing more than a farcical comedy. What in the world are we doing kowtowing to North Korea saying, oh, gee, if we offended you, we'll stop playing of the movie?
Well, go back historically then, why didn't we just finish off North Korea instead of let the UN set up the demilitarized zone way back in the 50s? My uncle fought in that war, just fortunately was wounded, but survived. And but no, we were stopped, and this, the whole North Korea situation could have been eliminated if MacArthur was able to bomb those bridges over the Yalu River and so forth to keep the Red Chinese from coming in there. Yeah. And, of course, that's, a long time ago, but I can guarantee you, at night, you take a satellite picture of North Korea at night, it's dark, except for very few places. They don't have enough power to keep things lit up at night. It's just that bad. And, of course, we still send them aid indirectly.
I know
Unbelievable.
Adrian, thank you, and to you and yours, a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks a lot, Jack.
You got to scratch your head, folks. This isn't just theatrics to gain callers on a talk show. I mean, my goodness. Is this country, the United States of America, so low on self-esteem and courage and power and prestige that we're going to kowtow to the likes of the Pillsbury Doughboy leader of North Korea? And whatever he says, oh, okay, we'll do it. Oh, we're sorry, please. What? Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Oh my, all of their people are so well trained, and all of their people are very professional. They have a great staff that can help you get back to being you. Absolutely. They know all the exercises. They know all about all the sports medicine. They know about the great value of their hydro pool. It's the only pool around like it. Oh, it is wonderful. And all I suggest you do is give them a call and try to make an appointment, 678-1191. They are phenomenal. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell and the rest of the crew helping you get back to being you. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call to come in, I mean, honestly, we should be standing tall. We should be standing tall and unified in a voice that says to Kim Jong-un and North Korea and any other country, sit down, shut up, and do not bother us. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. They've got all your traction tires. They've got all the tires pinned for studs. They've got all the tire chains. And they've got, of course, the very, very, very best in brake service and batteries. You better go in and have your battery checked. And boy, on those cold winter mornings, it takes a lot of juice to get that thing turned over. Make sure your battery is a good one. They've got the best in replacement batteries. And front-end alignment, shocks, and struts, all there. All there for your safe driving at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wow. I just can't. Oh, and then here's another story, too. Jesse Ventura has to be the lowest of the low. Jesse Ventura, I don't have time for the whole story, but he sued Chris Kyle and Chris Kyle's widow, I should say, for an excerpt of the book that Chris Kyle maintained that he had decked Jesse Ventura when Ventura was drunk and said some derogatory statements about the Navy SEALs. Well, then, of course, Chris Kyle passed away, and Jesse Ventura thought that was a good opportunity to sue the widow for millions. Now, this pond scum that used to be the former Minnesota governor, now he's not happy with the millions that he's going to possibly get over this lawsuit, even though Chris Kyle couldn't stand up for himself and validate knocking Ventura on his keister. Now he's going to go after the publisher of Kyle's book and try to get more money away from Chris Kyle's widow. Jesse Ventura is absolutely an armpit with eyes. Lowest of the low. We are going to take a little break for about 6 minutes, and we're going to come back, and Doug Johnson out of Colorado, we're going to touch on some of the news stories that we've talked about this morning. And then also we're going to talk about Christmas. We're going to talk about Christmas because next week on Wednesday, we won't be on the air next Wednesday. And Doug's going to take a little hiatus vacation to be with his family on Christmas and everything. So we're going to just talk a little bit about Christmas. And then at 9:30, we are supposed to have Kathleen Hardnett-White from Texas on talking about the dastardly EPA. So she's not going to be there this morning. We just got word she canceled. Isn't that wonderful at the last minute? And so it'll be an open forum at 9:30 this morning, and I'll tell you what we might do. We might just have you pick your favorite Christmas carols at 9:30, basically, because I don't have anything else to do. Have a good one. I'll be back in 6. Christmas. Merry Christmas. I love this time of the year. Welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch, hour number 2. I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho,
Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. All you have to do to be served on the route to have your garbage picked up, it's gone, is just give them a call, 734-6969. Excellent service. You can almost set your watch by these folks. They are so timely and so concerned about giving you the best in service. Don't forget, too, they've got dumpsters in various sizes. Maybe through the Christmas holidays, you're going to be cleaning out the basement or out the garage, whatever. Hey, fill it up. They'll come get it. Western Waste Services, is always at your disposal. Wonderful people serving you. There we go. Also, I want to take some time here real quick to say thank you to Joel Heward, manager of Hanson Mortuary, along with his family and staff. Thank you so much for all you do to help the community. And they're located at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Now, I want you to write the number down, 436-5636. Why? Well, I'll tell you. We all should take the time and the opportunity to sit down and try to figure out exactly what needs to be done, and the pre-planning of funerals helps eliminate so much of the stress and worry for the rest of our family, and they always treat you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. At Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call again, 436-5636. We have a very, very dear friend that's on the line, and I'm going to ask him right up front. Doug Johnson, are you ready for Christmas, my dear friend?
Actually, yes, I am.
We're having a little delay there for some reason. Do you have a lot of snow back there in Colorado right now?
No. We have a few patches on the ground from a light snow we got the other day, but no, not really.
Is this winter indicative of other winters that you've had in Colorado, or is there less moisture going into the Christmas season than normal?
This is pretty normal. 7-8 years ago, we got an unusually high amount, but right now it's fairly normal. We're sitting. We don't usually get a lot of snow here until February, and from February to May is our heavy snow season. Our actually number one month for snow is February, and our number two is actually May.
Okay. Now, Doug, in fairness to you this morning, and you and I talked about this via emails the last couple of days, your last-minute little surge with your Horse Sense blog hit me right between the eyes because it's something I've been saying on this program for the last couple of weeks. The Republicans, and I'll be more blunt probably than you will, the Republicans, in my opinion, have dropped the ball. The Republicans, in my opinion, it's too much of the same old, and the Republicans, in my opinion, have just absolutely messed up this amnesty program. I am mad at the Republicans. Go ahead, you pick it up from there.
Well, I think you're right, and as I said, my blog was really written kind of, you can probably tell, out of anger, because I was so horrified when I was on a couple radio shows after the vote on the whole $1 trillion spending bill came through, and on more than one show, as I say on my blog post, we had calls from people shocked and horrified at what the Republicans have done, and actually more than one caller, this is what's amazing, different parts of the country, we had people call in and say, why didn't anybody warn us how bad these people were that were leading the Republican Party? And I about lost it. Zeb, my wife will tell you, I do not get angry easily. I have a fuse that is about 60 miles long, and about once every 5 years I actually really get mad. I used to have a real temper. God has taken that and tempered that a lot over the years. But when this happened, I about lost it, and I ended up writing in a very quick order this little blog post saying, basically, don't say we didn't warn you. We've been talking about this all along, and I went back and just over the past 3 months put links to all the blog posts of mine that had mentioned the problems of the Republicans. And of course, as you know, I've talked about this consistently. I'm a broken record on this topic. And I think the icing on that cake really comes with the fact that the American voter, to me, have the audacity to even say something like that when it's their job to hold the government accountable, which means they've got to be involved and pay attention to what's going on, and they haven't done that. And so, to me, I'm actually more angry at the American electorate than I am at the Republicans, because the Republicans are just doing what they do. And when I say Republicans, let me qualify it. I'm talking about the establishment that controls the party.
Yes.
There are some conservatives, the Mike Lees from Utah, the Ted Cruzes, the Trey Gowdies. They're certainly solid conservatives, but they're very small. Only about 25 to 30% of the House Republicans, for example, are actually conservative. All the rest are establishment Republicans, and those are the ones I'm speaking to.
Doug, you've kind of hit the nail right in the middle of the head with a hammer on this, and I give you kudos, but it's also something that I've been saying on this program. It's the old Republican guard. It's the John McCains, has-beens. It's the McConnells, has-beens. It's the, and I'm going to say this, Jeb Bush, has-beens. I don't want Jeb Bush to run for president. And yet, we're hearing people that are commentators, even Charles Krauthammer, say about Cruz and Gowdy and the rest of them, oh, they're not team players. You know something, Doug? I don't want a team player anymore. I want somebody that's going to stand up and say, hey, to the establishment, to the in-the-rut Republicans, it's time to change and it's time to stand up for the values of our Constitution in America. I don't want the same old, same old.
Well, and we shouldn't. And the base, the base of the Republican Party, the actual electorate, are predominantly conservative, but the people who control the party are not. And what's interesting to me, Zeb, is after the loss of the 2012 election, when Mitt Romney lost, which I saw coming from 20 miles away, within the first week after that election, actually the very first radio show I was on after that election, I made the statement that I said, mark my words, and the host actually made a note to try and hold me accountable on this because he was shocked. I said, I guarantee for 2016 the Republican establishment will want Jeb Bush as the presidential candidate. And I said, I won't say as strongly. I said, I will predict that. I said, I won't say as strongly, but I suspect they will probably want Marco Rubio as vice president because Marco Rubio is a fraud and he's an establishment Republican and very corrupt, I might add. He is not a conservative. But all that said, now we're starting to see this play out. Jeb has struck a blow by trying to beat the whole group by coming out as running for the presidency sooner than most. And their goal with this is really not to win. Their goal is to destroy the conservative base, to destroy the conservative part of the Republican Party. The establishment GOP hates the Tea Party, the conservatives. And by having Jeb run, we have to remember, just a few weeks ago, Jeb said that he'd run in a unique way. Those are his words, in a unique way. And what he meant when that was looked into was that he would not cater to the conservative base. He would win without that. And in doing so, he would show that you can win the Republican nomination without owing anything to the conservatives, and that way they'd destroy it once and for all because it would make people like Trey Gowdy and Mike Lee and Ted Cruz impotent in Congress, and it would make us as voters impotent because they would reject us and they would not need us. And so that is what the goal here is. It's not even about winning, because remember, they're more worried about control and taking power away from conservatives than they are about beating Democrats. They celebrated more at the defeat of conservatives in the midterms a few weeks ago than they did at beating Democrats. This is what we're up against.
I'll just throw this out to you this morning, and I've said this on my my program. I would really relish kind of a tree shaker like a party platform of Cruz and Gowdy. Ooh, would I welcome that?
I think it'd be wonderful, although I'd like to see Gowdy as Attorney General myself. I'm thinking Cruz and Allen West.
Good choice.
But I'll take, there's a number of good ones out there, who would be great. But I think Ted Cruz has tremendous ability to move the American electorate because he speaks so well. He is an Ivy League debater, champion debater. He's got the everything going for him. He's got the Ivy League education, the training, the speaking ability, the rapport with audiences, and the biggest thing in my mind is he couldn't care less what the media thinks and what the left thinks. Yeah. And I think that's really important because the minute we start catering to what they think, we lose. And that's what the establishment always does. They're always so worried about what the press thinks and what the Democrats think that they trip up and follow up everything. And Ted Cruz doesn't care about that. He wants to return this country to a constitutional republic as it was created to be. And I think, personally, he's my favorite. But there are a number of others I would support in a heartbeat if that's the way it went. My fear is that with Jeb coming out so early now, The push is going to be on, and their goal will be to push this through and eliminate any real debate in the primaries, and push Jeb through as a candidate. That's my fear of what's going to happen.
I've got to do a commercial break, but I want you to just give me a real short answer on this. I think what he did yesterday, by basically, without professionally throwing his hat in the ring, he did throw his hat in the ring. I think Jeb Bush totally eliminated Marco Rubio from any chance at all for continuation of a higher job in politics.
Yeah, you can't have two people I think they're from the same county.
Yeah.
You can't, and so I don't think that'll happen. But I do think, as I said earlier, that there's a good chance they'll look to Marco Rubio as a vice presidential candidate. And I think it'll be a terrible choice, but I think that's what they'll look to.
I agree. I'm going to do a quick commercial break. We're on the air with Doug Johnson back in Colorado, and Doug's always a weekly feature on our show, and we appreciate him. Merry Christmas from AMI 719 Overland and Burley. Look for the big 28-foot wrench over their door and go nuts over their bolts. Absolutely. And Alan and Corey and Eric and Rob and the rest of the crew at AMI wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Also our friends at Pro Paint, Barbara and the rest of the crew, wonderful people with the best stains, best paint, best advice to really beautify your home and office. Absolutely. And check out the gift certificates at Pro Paint, 1116 Overland in Burley. Merry Christmas. And last but not least, a Merry Christmas from Joe Taylor, 1826 Overland in Burley, with Carrie and Adams Realty. Buying or selling realty, one call does it all with Joe Taylor. Honest and hardworking and a good old boy. My friend Joe Taylor, wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas. Also, really fast, I want to remind you about Colonel Dale at the Whipple's Book Plaza. 3 floors of books and jewelry and decorating items and new children's book department and expanded music department. Wow! Since 1945. And check out the 50% off department, too, at Whipple's Book Plaza with Colonel Dale Whipple and the rest of the crew at 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. I'm on the air right now with a dear friend, Doug Johnson from Colorado. Doug, I know that you probably haven't followed this story the last couple of days, but it really doesn't make any difference because it's a story about how weak need the United States is getting. There is a movie, I was talking about it last hour, and the movie is being released. It's called The Interview, and it is a farcical comedy about 2 guys from the United States basically going over to North Korea to take out Kim Jong-un, and it's nothing more than a comedy of errors. That's what it is. North Korea is livid, and North Korea has sent an edict to this country, the U.S., that if we go ahead and have the screenings for the movie, the opening premiere screenings for that movie called The Interview, we may be opening up ourselves to an attack comparable to 9/11. They are serious, and they have threatened us, and many movie theater premieres have been canceled because of these threats. We are being dictated to by North Korea.
And you'd like my opinion?
Yeah, go ahead. I gotta hear your thoughts.
Well, I was not aware of this till you said it, but I guess I have a couple of reactions. One is the fact that we would react to it doesn't surprise me. We're controlled by the left.
Yep.
The left operates out of fear. The left believes that, if you offend somebody, that's a problem. But if you back off it, then they'll respect you and like you. So that doesn't surprise me. The fact that North Korea would make some kind of threat doesn't surprise me. They've been rattling sabers for years, and while they are very dangerous, we should not ignore that. I mean, they have one of the very strongest militaries in the world. They are not some small podunk country. They may not have a lot of resource or a lot of money, but they pour everything into their military, and they're very potent. So that's nothing to take lightly. But on the flip side, I think that to me, people like that, to me, they're like a gnat that flies around and annoys you. And I would ignore something like this if it was me. But given not just the leadership of our country, but the control of our country by the progressives, from one coast to another, I'm not surprised by the fact that we would actually respond to it and back off. The last thing I'd say is you mentioned this is a comedy, and that would say a lot to me because we know the people on the left have no sense of humor.
You know, and here's one point to consider, and I know you're aware of this television series, but now let's just use a supposition, and this is purely supposition on my part, and I'm not saying this has even been mentioned, but I just thought of it last hour. The award-winning, many-time Emmy-winning series MASH with Alan Alda was based on the North and South Korea with the Korean conflict. What would happen if all of a sudden Kim Jong-un says to our State Department and also Hollywood, oh, and by the way, no more reruns of MASH, we find it offensive? Are we going to kowtow to everybody that finds what we do not politically correct?
To most everybody. Certain groups they wouldn't, which would be anything to do with conservatism or Christianity or Judaism. However, it's interesting you raise MASH, which is a very left-wing show, but yet highly successful. And so while it had the favor of Hollywood and the favor of the left, this would really hit them right where the left right where it hurts, because it's not something the left would take too well. But my guess is if the demand were made, they would actually consider pulling the reruns.
Yep.
They would treat it like so many networks have treated Bill Cosby's old shows, and they pulled those off. And the difference being that the people on MASH, to our knowledge, have done nothing evil or corrupt or immoral. They just put out a sitcom. Bill Cosby has a track record to speak for that's a whole different story. But I think that, I could see our country, the leftists fearing enough that they would pull those reruns, and it would just speak more of who they are, and also of why our country's leadership has to change. We can't function when we're always apologizing. That's not how you function. Zeb, you and I think, came up in very similar upbringings, and I'm sure most of the audience did too, that you stand up to a bully. And that's all Kim Jong-un is he's a little bully. And you stand up to that. And when you stand up to it, they back off. If Ronald Reagan, who was the last strong president we had, if he were in office, he'd probably make a joke about it and ignore them.
Yeah, that's what I said.
He'd push back, and they would back off real fast. But if you look at America's history, nobody pushes us around when we have strength. When we don't have strength, then we have problems, and that's why we got the problems we do today in the world.
Yeah, but Doug, this is really a very deep problem. It's not one to be scoffed at. In the first hour, I had some of the veterans in this area call, and I could tell that their voices were shaky and there were tears in their eyes. They are really questioning what happened to America. What happened to standing underneath the flags that's being raised, the red, white, and blue, and the tears streaming down our face because we're so proud of what this country has done. And now, over a farcical comedy movie, we are going to run and hide in the corner and say, oh, gee, we're sorry we offended you. Oh, we'll stop today. What happened to America?
Well, I would want to thank those veterans for their service, and my heart breaks for them and how they feel. On the flip side, and this is the tough love I have for our country, which is we shouldn't be surprised one bit. We have created this. It's not Obama. It's not who's in office today. It has gone on for decades, what we have allowed the left to do, and it starts with them taking over the upbringing of our children by controlling them in our schools, by running God out of our society, by us abandoning God in our own personal lives. All these things have laid a foundation that brought us to where we are today. So frankly, and I hate to say this, I open the news these days on a website, or I turn it on TV or the radio, and sadly, very sadly, I'm not surprised, because this is exactly what we have been heading for a long, long time. And if we didn't see it and we're in shock today, we need to shake ourselves hard and say, wait a minute, we need to wake up because we aren't paying attention. This is the whole problem. We're not paying attention. We should have seen it coming and stopped it years ago, and we didn't.
And Doug, right now, that opens the door for me to ask you a favor. I don't know if you have a little extra time this morning. I had a guest cancel at 9:30 that was going to be on the air, and I wanted to devote at least 8 or 9 minutes to Christmas itself. And can I do a commercial break and depend on you for that, or do you have to run?
No, actually, you can have all the time you'd like today.
Okay, I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on the phone with Doug Johnson from Colorado, a dear friend, and we're going to be discussing more with him in just a moment. Don't forget Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, and that business, Let's Ride, says Merry Christmas because it's where the fun is sold. Absolutely, they've got all the clothing and accessories for motorcycles and ATVs and snowmobiles. Oh, and by the way, don't forget, they've got the brand new 2015 Yamaha snowmobiles over there. Boy, you can have a lot of fun. They got something for everybody over there at Let's Ride. Check it out. Great service department. Oh, I mean, these folks are ready and raring to help you where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. You stop in and see them today. And I also want to acknowledge the Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. My goodness sakes, Santa's favorite place to shop. I mean, for comfort. You know, Santa Claus has got to have a comfortable room when he gets done delivering all the presents on Christmas Eve. Well, he has a sofa from Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. He's got a recliner from Lee's Furniture. He's got everything in his house that just absolutely is going to provide to the beauty and comfort of his home, including all the accessories, all the clocks, all the mirrors, all the framed art, everything, and beautiful dinette sets so he and Mrs. Claus can invite all the elves. Oh my goodness sakes, it's fun time at Christmas time at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. The biggest savings, the best values on everything for your home. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. On the phone with Doug Johnson. And Doug, of course, both of us raised in similar areas and comparable households. And Christmas means so much to me. And I think of all the holidays that are given, Christmas, the birth of Jesus, means so much because it brings me back. This week in my blog, I'm talking about kind of remembering Christmases of days gone by, remembering certain special things that come to mind with the family and with the church and with our schools. You know, those are some things that you can never get rid of at Christmas time, are all the great memories, Doug.
No, you sure can't. I mean, it is a wonderful time for my family. It started on Thanksgiving weekend, and from that through Christmas Day, every weekend, and if a holiday hit on a weekday, that too was a very special time for our family with special events. And so it's a very, very special time of the year for us. But sadly, I think in America, and really across the world, but we're just talking about America today, in America, I think not only has the celebration of Christmas been challenged and put down, but I think Americans, even those who celebrate Christmas, most of them don't celebrate it for the right reasons. And so to me, it's a time of great celebration, and yet when I look across our country, I have sorrow for how our country celebrates it.
You know, where were you born and raised? You were born and raised back in Minnesota, weren't you?
Actually born in Fargo, North Dakota, but when I was 4 years old, we moved to Minnesota, and I grew up there.
Okay, so we were neighbors, and both of us can remember the winters, the snow, the school pageants for Christmas, and the getting out for Christmas vacation, the snowball fights, Mom in the kitchen making the candy and the cookies and everything. Those are memories that I can honestly sit here and say I can still smell all the wonderful smells of the chocolate candies that Mom made, you know, the peanut brittle and everything else. Man, it just comes to mind the minute you say Christmas.
I can remember all the atmosphere of Christmas. I don't have the recollection of smells, but then again, my mother didn't make candies and cookies and stuff, so that's something we didn't have a lot of. But you know, I do remember the Christmas Day and the cooking. And for us, I had two uncles who lived near us in the Twin Cities, and so every weekend and every day, like I was mentioning earlier, from Thanksgiving on was spent with those two families too. So my cousins, my uncles and aunts, for those two families were all there. And it started with us on Thanksgiving. The weekend after Thanksgiving, we would all go out north of the Twin Cities, out into the woods, and cut our own Christmas trees. Mm-hmm. And you know, each weekend was something culminating on Christmas Day. And every year we'd rotate whose house it was at, and we'd all celebrate. And each part of the family would bring different parts of the food. And I remember, you know, being with all the relatives, and those were wonderful, wonderful memories, and such a special time. And sadly, you know, we just don't see that today. Some families do celebrate it, but we don't have the same view, the same attitudes towards the family and everything else these days. And to me, it's sad. But I think that younger Americans often today don't know what they're missing. They don't have that heritage. When I watch the old movies and stuff, and I see the celebrations that represent what you and I are talking about, it brings back all these memories. But I've talked to younger people in their 30s and 20s, that means nothing to them. That's just old-fashioned.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart because it is such a wonderful time.
Oh, I'm telling you, I am glued. I don't like to watch a lot of TV if it's not news or sports. I'll be honest with you. I don't like some of the sitcoms and all that garbage today. But I am glued to a couple of channels during Christmas time because I love the old movies. Miracle on 34th Street. I love the old movie White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Rosemary Clooney. I love that stuff. And call me old-fashioned and an old fogey, I don't care. That's part of my heritage.
Oh, absolutely. And those shows, even though those shows, the two you mentioned, which are two of my favorites, Amanda, but even though they don't really deal with the real meaning of Christmas, they do deal with the family aspect and such in their own way, and they're very special that way. And I think they also show a time of more innocence in America, which I often long for. When my wife and I have taken vacation and stuff, we've gone to various places, and I said to her one day, we were in Memphis a few years ago, and we were going through Graceland, Elvis Presley's old home, and everything is left the way it was back when he died in the 70s. And you have this whole history of his life, and it hit me when I was there, and I said to my wife, I said, I love being here because I feel like I've gone back to a time when America was a better place.
Yeah. You just nailed it.
And I think those movies do the same thing for us.
Absolutely. And there was one other thing, too, and probably the most important thing. And if somebody's offended by this, it's their problem, not mine. Back in those days with our grade school Christmas pageants, Mrs. Kilt's greatest teacher I ever had in all my life, we would organize all the Christmas pageants, and we'd have little skits, and we'd have songs and everything. And then we'd also have a tribute to the Christ child. And you didn't have to worry about the ACLU and the Freedom from Religion groups coming into your school. Everybody got up and they wished everybody a Merry Christmas and God's blessings. That was a time that America was great.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'll tell a quick story here if I have a minute. I grew up, most of my life when we moved to Minnesota was spent in Bloomington, Minnesota, which is a suburb of Minneapolis.
Yep.
It's the third largest city in Minnesota. And Bloomington is very, very progressive. And Minnesota in general is, but Bloomington is extremely progressive. Even our school system was experimental, and it was entirely different than what most people had that I've known over the years. And so we had a lot of freedom. A lot of things were far, far different than other students have. And I remember in high school, and I was in music. It was one of my activities, and in band. And I remember one year, because the pressure was on to get rid of Christmas, any acknowledgement of Jesus or the true Christmas holiday. And we were practicing for our winter concert. And they had changed it over the years. They'd made us change the name from Christmas concert to winter concert, which we'd done. And the band director we were in practice, and I will never forget this, Zeb. And one day we're practicing some, just generic winter song. And he got really mad, and he threw his directing baton down. And he said, okay, I'm going to say something, and I'll make this really clear. He said, anybody who does not want to do this can leave. You do not have to participate. It will not affect your grade or anything else. I want everybody to know that right up front. But this is Christmas, and we're celebrating Christmas, and I don't care what anybody says. So get out your Christmas music, because we still all had, all the different music from the past. He said, we're practicing Christmas music, and we're putting on a Christmas concert. Nobody got up and left. Everybody was quite happy to do it, and the crowd loved it when we performed it. He had enough guts to say, I don't care about where this country is headed, because we could see it then, all the way back then.
Yep.
But he said, I'm doing what's right. And what I found interesting is even there in such a progressive community, nobody complained. We got a lot of praise for it, a lot of kudos for it, because even back then, people still appreciated what Christmas was. Today, you mention, anything other than the Santa Claus, and you're terrible. You mention the word Christmas, you're terrible, and it's ridiculous. And I have gotten to the point and said, well, like when I'm in stores, I always say Merry Christmas. If people say Merry Christmas to me, I thank them. And I'm amazed how often I say Merry Christmas, people working in stores look at me and say, thank you, I'm really tired of Happy Holidays.
Yeah, and Doug, I think you will agree with this and concur with the way my feelings are on this. We hear about the attack and the assault on Christmas, and, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't sing that song. Oh, in the halls of school, you can't say or whistle Silent Night. Oh, no, you can't. Yes, you can. And you know something? This phrase is one that I've adopted for Christmas, no matter what the circumstances. The way to get back to it is to do it. In other words, don't let anybody tell you what to do. Do it anyway. Don't ask for special favors. Don't ask for permission. Just do it like we did 30, 40 years ago. Just do it, and people will accept it. We have turned into a society to where we cower and wait for permission, and it is a federal holiday. It is the birth of Jesus Christ. I am not ashamed of that, and I will continue to honor it.
Well, I think you're right. Do it until they stop you, and when they stop you,
do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Yeah.
We were at an appointment yesterday, my wife and I, and we were coming home last night. It was after dark, and we were driving through this area that's probably 10 miles from our home on the way home that we drive through frequently. It's one of the main areas, and as we drove through, I commented to her. I said, "Look around. We've lived where we live for 10 years." I said, I don't recall in all the time we've lived here ever seeing so many homes decorated for Christmas. And this year, it's just overwhelming how many homes. And I found that very interesting that all of a sudden this time of all the criticism of Christmas, on a personal level, you look around and so many people are celebrating Christmas. And I thought that was fascinating. I think it's a good sign. I hope it means more will come.
On behalf of my wife and I to you, I don't know if you have anything special that you do as kind of a annual or Christmassy tradition. We have certain things that we do. And it just is a time of the year where starting, as a matter of fact, next week, my wife and I are going to take care of doing certain things and delivering certain things to certain people that it's so much fun to give others something at Christmas time.
It's funny you say it. This is a difficult thing. I know it's been difficult for my wife. I really don't like receiving gifts. I love giving them, but I don't like receiving them. I think there's so much more blessing in giving. Not because somebody sees you as, oh, wow, this person gave me a gift, but because I love seeing the joy that doing little things for people does. So I understand what you're saying, and I think it's a great time of year. And I think I was raised that one of the great traditions of Christmas was giving. It wasn't receiving. And of course, as a little kid, you wait for Santa, you wait for the presents under the tree and all that, and we did. But we were taught and learned to really appreciate the greatest thing was giving.
Absolutely.
And doing something for somebody else. And I think that's one of the simple lessons we could teach our children that could start to bring the spirit of the holiday back. And it would be really, really hard for the left and for the government to say, well, you don't have a right to give somebody something.
Yeah.
But it would be a great way to start to build the spirit back.
Doug, I know that we've never had an opportunity, we've said this many, many times, to meet firsthand, up close and personal, but about a 700-mile handshake to you right now and say Merry Christmas to you, your family, God's blessings, and thank you for being on the program. And next week we will not have a show on Christmas Eve, so I will be in touch, and we wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Well, thanks. Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners, too. And I will talk to you after the holiday.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, Doug Johnson in Colorado. And we're going to get Gina on the phone with us in just a few minutes. But first and foremost, I want to remind you about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Oh, my, they take care of you. Very accessible and devoted to serving you. And all you have to do is give them a call for an appointment. 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, serving you. Calls are welcome and appreciated, especially since we had a guest from Texas lined up, and then all of a sudden, no guest. So calls are welcome. And we do have a call coming in. Thank you very much. Good morning. Merry Christmas.
Hi, how you doing, Zeb?
Fantastic. I know who this is. How are you, sir?
Oh, doing great. I explained to Al why I've been having a struggle getting to the lunch bunch. The reason I called is earlier you were talking about presidential candidates.
Yes.
I wanted to put my 2 bits worth in on that.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe this has been mentioned before. I don't get to listen sometimes, but I would elect Condoleezza Rice for a presidential nominee. I think she'd do a great job.
Well, Paul, I'll tell you what. I have
brain, and she did a wonderful job as our ambassador. So
well, she did a wonderful job of secretary.
That's my choice.
No, she did a wonderful job of Secretary of State, and I absolutely have always been a big fan of Condoleezza Rice. As a matter of fact, during the first go-round with Obama back in 2008, I was accused of being a racist because I absolutely could not stand Barack Obama. But at the same time, and I've got all the program tapes to prove this, I was coming out at that time saying that I would be a big supporter of Condoleezza Rice if she would run for president. See, the left is not smart enough to understand you're not a racist if you support one of the same race but not the other.
Well, maybe we can volunteer her or conscript her in some way to get her to do that. She's turned down the suggestion a number of times, I think, but I still think we ought to push her and see if she would accept that, because there's the leader, in my opinion.
There have been a lot of people, Paul, that have mentioned Condoleezza Rice, and there have been a lot of folks that thought that maybe they could twist her arm, so to speak, and make her get back into politics. And I heard her speak, it's been maybe 3 months ago, and questions came up from the audience, and they asked her if politics would come back into her life. And she seemed to hold politics at arm's length away from her, and I really didn't see anything in the body language or listen to her verbiage that would suggest she might come back. But I think if enough people drafted her to run, I honestly think she would serve her country and possibly throw her hat in the ring.
I would sure like to see it happen. I'd like to see a wave of people encourage her to do that. Maybe she would. Well, anyway, that's my thoughts.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas to you and your family. God's blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you. Nice man right there. I appreciate that. And yes, for all of you that are avid listeners and have listened every day, I found that to be so almost funny because of their stupidity. The left and the Democrats here in the state of Idaho were condemning me because I wasn't in favor of Barack Obama. Well, you're a racist! And they really went out after me. And I saved everything. I saved all the emails. I saved all the letters to the editor. I saved all the stories in the newspapers. I saved everything with these local yokels calling me a racist. And why did I do that? Because at the same time on the programs, I was endorsing and advocating that Condoleezza Rice would make an excellent choice for president. And evidently the left didn't realize, Condoleezza Rice, Barack Obama, they're both of black descent. Sometimes you got to wonder how the Democrats are allowed to leave home after dark and how they find their way home. Don't forget Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center at 382 North Overland in Burley. Minor emergency, major care. They will see you today. Wonderful people. And absolutely, if you're having a problem, all of a sudden you've got ear infections, the flu, a sprain, a strain, or a fracture, injuries due to accidents, they're there. They're there and they're waiting for you. Absolutely. All you have to do is just stop in or give them a call at 678-6996. 678-6996. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland in Burley. As I said, minor emergency, major care. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. Good morning. Cloudy, chance of meatballs for today. I've always wanted to say that. I've always wanted to say that. There's a movie called Cloudy Chance of Meatballs. Well, that's what you got for today. You got a chance for a lot of meatballs for tomorrow. Cloudy today. Temperatures still pretty much holding up like they did throughout much of the week, with daytime highs in the mid to upper 40s. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Other than that, chance of snow for tomorrow. Come out of it on Friday. Looking pretty darn good. Got partly sunny conditions, then you walk right back in with cloudy conditions. Chance of rain/snow for Saturday and Sunday. Enjoy the weather. Still the weather you got.
Thank you very much. And the weather brought to you by some really, really nice people. I think the world of this family. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland in Burley. Minor emergencies, major care. They will see you today. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Gina, why don't you jump on the phone for a minute, or better yet, not on the phone. How about turning your microphone on?
Gotcha. I'm here.
That sounded so dumb when I said it. I apologize for that. I hate to see you perched on that Alexander Graham Bell piece of machinery.
I think I might crush it.
Okay, well, no, not you. I mean, you could take a bath in a shotgun barrel. That's how skinny and slender you are.
No comments?
Oh.
I'm gaining weight.
You are?
I need to, though. Yeah, well, but I need to, though.
Oh, you've been absolutely... Look at Deanne. I mean, she's wasting away. She's lost so much weight.
I know. We need to feed her a cheeseburger or 3.
Or she should have some of her cookies that she made yesterday that she kept slapping my fingers, not letting me have one. You know, what's your favorite Christmas carol? Your absolutely favorite of all-time Christmas carol?
My favorite Christmas carol probably would have to be Winter Wonderland.
You like Winter Wonderland?
I do.
Okay, now I'm trying to Winter Wonderland. I'm trying to think who the original artist of that big hit was. Who was it?
Honestly, I don't know. I know that Bing Crosby did it. Dean Martin did it. I like, the old school 1950s kind of Christmas.
Oh, me too. Now, my favorite song at Christmas time, and it gets me a little nostalgic, and I get those big wimpy tears in my eyes. Can you guess what it is?
Little Drummer Boy?
No, I'll Be Home for Christmas.
That is a good tune. Yeah. I need to look that one up. I'll see if we have it.
Why don't we, right now, have a little kind of a relaxed attitude the last couple of minutes of this segment. And you said you liked which one? White Christmas? No, not White Christmas.
Winter Wonderland.
Winter Wonderland. Do you have a copy of that we could play right now? And then we'll take some more calls.
Here we go. Sometimes the microphone just doesn't want to work for me.
I noticed that.
Let's see here. I think I'm going to go with Harry Connick Jr.'s version, and then I've also got I'll Be Home for Christmas up for you.
Ooh, let's take a listen to it on Zeb at the Ranch. And Merry Christmas, everybody.
If only in my dreams.
Oh, I like that song. And now I'm going to ask Gina.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. No, the hearing is a little different coming down the pike in my headsets, but yes. I believe that was the version by Bing Crosby, wasn't it?
You are very correct.
I don't care what the kids think today. Some of the absolute greatest musicals were centered around Christmas time, like the movie White Christmas, Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, and some of the greatest singers. I mean, Bing Crosby, I don't care if you like him or not, he could croon a tune.
Oh, he could. And we have a phone call for you, by the way.
Okay, let's take it. Good morning, and Merry Christmas. How are you?
Good morning, Merry Christmas to you again. You talking about the presidential candidates. The one we don't want for sure is another Bush in there. That would be, he's a neocon, and he already said that he was wanting to stay away from basically, any of the conservative constitutional types, so where he's coming from. But I think Scott Walker and Ted Cruz would be excellent, or Ben Carson. I think, I've been getting some information on Ben Carson. I really like the way he took on Obama. and of course, and so forth. But those three would be at the top of my list.
I agree.
And they're all good people, but this country's in trouble. We really always put all our emphasis on the president, but just look what Congress did to us by funding amnesty and Obamacare, and it's really hurting people for their jobs and their pocketbook to pay for all the extra money for insurance premiums for nothing, really, because of all the government bureaucracy.
I agree. Adrian, I appreciate your call. I was going to stick with the vein of a little Christmas music, and we're going to wrap it up that way, but God bless and Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Okay. Have a good
I was really hoping somebody would call and say, oh, gee, my favorite Christmas carol is, and then all of a sudden we got back into politics again, which just right now makes me grit my teeth during the Christmas season. We got a bunch of, I think, LOSERS losers that are running possibly for the presidency, and I don't want 90% of them even to throw their hat in any ring. We want to say thank you again to Gary Shoresman. Gary has done an outstanding job. My goodness, the incredible bulk just walked in. Gary Shoresman has done an outstanding job with all of his great books, and if you have not seen or heard about his books, they are at the bookstore on the Square in Rupert and also Minidoka County Museum. Great, great books for the history buff and keepsakes for generations to come. And I suggest, please, that if you want to give a Christmas gift that is going to keep on giving all through generations to come, it's Gary Shoresman's historical review of this area in southern Idaho. Absolutely excellent. At the bookstore on the Square in Rupert and Minidoka County Museum. I was in the mood there. Yes.
I know, and I got 2 phone calls for Silent Night.
Oh, well, let's do it. Let's do it right now. And I'll tell everybody before you start it, because I don't want to interrupt the song. Coming up next hour, we have the incredible bulk, and that is with the Idaho Fishing Game. He didn't like that. He's sticking his chin out like he normally does when he's teed off, and that's Kelton Hatch. He didn't bring the commissioner with him this time either. He was supposed to. But we're going to have Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fishing Game. He's already playing with the toys on the desk. This guy is something else. Buy him something for Christmas. I'll be back in 6 minutes. Oh, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. And we have a real live Santa Claus in the office here, too. Yeah, his name is Kelton Hatch. We're going to talk to him in just a few minutes. Merry Christmas, 7th Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers we really appreciate. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service. Call them, 734-6969. Let's take a look on the menu today at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. What is on the bill of fare? Oh, this sounds so good. Beef and penny pasta, served with garlic toast. You can go up and breathe on your neighbor, watch them wilt, and then, of course, soup and salad. All of this very delicious at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. They have always got a great special, always great menu items, and always a lot of fun with nice people. At the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Well, it is that time of the month, and we look across the table, and there he sits, the Jolly Green Giant that also works as a part-time department store Santa Claus. Good morning. How are you, Kelton Hatch?
It's the holiday season, Zeb. You're supposed to be nice.
I am nice.
Oh, okay. No, things are going well. Can't complain.
And I want to point out that you had an opportunity to walk in the door and possibly hand me a Christmas card from the fishing game or a gift. But no, you came in with your hands completely empty.
You called me the Jolly Green Giant, so I put it in my pocket.
You are lying.
So, I actually thought about that today, and I said, somebody had sent me a card, and I was just going to scratch my name out, put your name in its place, and then scratch theirs out and sign it and give it to you. But
one of those recycled Christmas cards.
But I was going to make sure you knew.
It says, "Hello, Bert, Merry Christmas," and then you got, "Hello, Brat."
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, how you been?
You know, The weather.
I'm not asking you too tough a question, am I?
Things have been fabulous.
Fabulous. It's FABU. There you go.
The weather's just really, really too warm.
It's too warm. This is not good for us. We need snow.
Well, anytime I've got to take water for my dogs for bird hunting this time of year because they're overeating, it's crazy.
Well, but you work those poor dogs to death.
Well, somebody's got to do some work in my place.
What kind of dogs have you got?
I've got a German short hair, and then I've got a lab, and then we're getting a English pointer.
Really, pretty well trained.
Really well trained.
Your wife did it, huh?
She did.
I see.
She trained me.
Not well. Okay. I understand you're doing some work in the basement too.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. That's Merry Christmas, honey.
Merry Christmas, honey. Oh, so it's a honeydew.
It's a honeydew.
I see. Are you pretty good at a hammer and nail and saw and all that stuff?
Not really.
Not really.
I can get by. I'm not rocket fast, but I can do her.
Okay. Well, see, I'm not good at that because I hate it.
Yeah. so
I don't like it.
It's actually enjoyable to a point.
So you get home at night from the fishing game, being of leadership quality, and then you take orders all night.
Correct. Any married man does. And you'll look at them and say they're not. Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah,
you got to go repent of that last.
So you're paneling and fixing up the entire basement.
Trying to get her fixed up.
Really?
Yeah.
For Christmas?
Hopefully.
Yeah, everybody's coming home.
Everybody's coming home.
And going to throw sleeping bags on the floor.
Hopefully we have the beds in by then.
Okay. You're not building those too, are you?
No.
Okay, good.
Thank goodness.
You got to think safety.
Yeah, true. And my son's my size, so you need a fairly substantial bed.
Two incredible bulks in the same house?
Yes.
He's
thinner.
You walk across the floor on Christmas morning and your wife's going to say, "Good Lord, we've got a, what is it in the house? Frankenstein stomping across the floor."
Elephants.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, hunting season updates. What's going on? What's still open?
We've still got some archery deer that's open. I think it closes this week. And so over in 55, we've had it going on for a while. We've got a lot of bird hunting going on. We got waterfowl season going until around the 23rd. We've got chuckers, quail, and huns until the end of January, and we've got pheasants ending the end of this month. Once you get, east of Burley Rupert area, it's already closed for pheasants, and then east of Burley Rupert, they're going to be closing waterfowl a week earlier than the 23rd.
Hey, wait a minute. Stop for just a second. Is it just me, or is there a whole bunch more water in Murtaugh Lake this year than there has been in the past?
It just blows me away. Yeah, the Highline Canal's got what? I don't know.
How come it didn't rain?
I don't know.
And it's not frozen, and there's a whole bunch of ducks and geese over.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Every time I drive out here, I drive by and I go, wow, that's bizarre, because usually it's drained by now and it's still high. Evidently, they're releasing some water. The water's getting in there from somewhere. So
okay, because normally at this time of the year,
maybe somebody from the canal company, would know. But usually this time of year, you're down to a mud puddle
or a frozen piece of ice.
Well, a frozen mud puddle in the middle,
and you're not going to see the geese and the ducks that are there now. I mean, holy smokes, there's a lot of them over there.
It has been. It's been just an incredible year. And, I think one of the hardest parts for the waterfowl hunters this year, they've had great success.
Yeah.
But, we just haven't had any weather. And so they get a 30-minute shoot in the morning, and then after that, the ducks start moving around, and so that much. But, we really do need some precip. We got a lot of rain. We did get a lot of rain. We just need some snow in the mountains for irrigation. And
what's it like up here in the South Hills right now?
There's only about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 foot on top.
Really? On top?
On top.
Okay.
And so it's pretty slim pickings.
How is it back like at Boston or in places like that?
That's top.
Okay.
To me anyway. And so, there's not a lot. I was up there at Magic Mountain. We was up getting our Christmas tree.
Oh, my.
And so
Jeremiah Johnson cut his tree.
Yep. And so we go up there. We go up every year. That's our family, one of our Christmas trees.
Do I look like I'm going to go up and cut a Christmas tree on these crutches?
Maybe on your ATV. Right. You could jump on your ATV. Okay. There's plenty of trails that are open.
And there's sure not too much snow to stop that.
No, I drove up down the Oakley-Rogerson Road right up to Buckskin Ridge, and That's about as high as you can get up there.
Wow.
And in my wheeled pickup and so.
Really?
Yeah, there's not a lot of snow up there right now.
So the hunting seasons overall, you would say, have been, on a scale of 1 to 10, pretty good?
Oh, they've been tremendous this year. Antler growth has been phenomenal. Some of the hunters may argue on some of this because it was really difficult for hunters during the regular season to get into the deer. Deer were scattered everywhere. But we've had pretty good harvest success. I was going to mention that right now we're getting ready to start planning next year's seasons, and we only have 41% of the hunter reports in.
Uh-oh.
That's hard to do when we only have 41% of those hunter reports in, because we use those numbers against our aerial surveys. Today, we have a new wildlife manager that replaced Randy Smith. His name's Daryl Meitz. He's a Nebraska boy. He's been in Idaho about 25 years now, and was the big game biologist, regional biologist over there in Idaho Falls, and he just transferred over to our region. We're fortunate to get him.
I see.
Really good biologist, and he's up flying today up in 49. But, typically on day areas, deer are scattered from heck to breakfast right now.
Are you concerned right now, excuse me, with the lack of snowpack and looking ahead a year to the habitat?
Well, you're always concerned more for the fisheries.
I see.
Because a lot of our habitat, we got 7 inches of rain in August.
Yeah.
A ton.
That was a deluge.
That was. It was, so precip-wise, I hope we get some more snow because we really need that runoff to fill the reservoirs and the snow that gets blown into the backcountry, it keeps those springs running longer and things like that. So, yeah, I'm concerned for that. But, for the overall wildlife habitat, typically, if we get some good rains in the spring like we have the last few years and things like that, that makes the grass grow. And, you don't need a ton of snow to make grass grow.
Yeah, and besides, you said it was good for the fishing.
Well, you need the water for fishing.
Yeah, and fishing, key word. Gee, where's McGargle in his phone call to take me fishing?
Doug actually had texted me on the way over and said, hey, ask Zeb where he was, because he says, I went out to the lake and he wasn't there.
Really? And I was supposed to know that?
Evidently.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether there's something he had talked to you about.
No, McGargle has visited with me 6 years ago or something. Time flies when you're having fun.
He left a big smiley face on it. I think he was just, no, but he was giving you a little bit of grief there.
A little bit? Having you on the program and him to talk about, there's more than a little. Fish and Game gets Outdoor Life Award for Access Yes program. Are more people getting involved?
Well, every year, Fish and Game, I was going to find the article on it, is in this last week's news pack. We received an award for... what's the name of the award?
I'm really glad that you're so prepared.
I know, I'm really glad I am too.
You want me to do it from Access?
It's called the Open Country Award.
I see.
And every year, Outdoor Life magazine acknowledges a nonprofit organization or state government, and it was because of our Access Yes program. We have 320,000 of acres of private land we have purchased access for, and that gives us an additional 485,000 acres of public land that opens gates up through the private land to get to that public land.
That's a lot.
It's a ton. You're almost 1 million acres, and a lion's share of that is in the Magic Valley region.
Really?
Right now, if you go to outdoorlife.com, you can go in there and actually donate money to the Access Yes program. We got a new Access Yes coordinator, Orlando Sportsman's coordinator, John Guthrie. Great young guy, really ambitious, and he's got a deal going with Outdoor Life to help raise funds for Idaho's Access Yes.
Let me ask you something, and this has nothing to do with anything that we've said previously, but it's just a question that hit my mind when we said Outdoor Life. Some of the outdoor magazines that have been staying pretty prevalent over the many years since I was a young teenager. Outdoor life and Field and Stream and that type of thing. Are they as popular today as they used to be?
I think anything that takes time for people to read is losing popularity.
Really?
Because we're just getting into, newspapers are struggling, in some aspects, TV. If they can't, if you can't just click on your cell phone and watch your news, get all your news feeds on there.
But those were the in magazines when I was in school.
You still got some heavy readership on them and things like that. But, they're still pretty popular. There are a lot of magazines out there that are still being published.
We got a caller. Good morning. You're on the air. Thanks for calling, and Merry Christmas.
Same to you both.
Thank you.
Big lug. Hey, you got a very interesting and educational program. We need water for fish. That's true.
Well, I have to state the obvious to Zeb every once in a while.
Al, I can't tell you how happy I am you called, so I won't.
You two have a good...
that hurts, Al.
It's the little things that make your day, and Al is by no means little. So anyhow, that was a good line. I like that. It was good. He worked on that through a full cup of coffee.
And so, but that's very true.
Yeah. Need water for fish.
Need water for fish.
Golly, Gomer. Anyway.
It doesn't fill the reservoirs if it comes in rain form. It needs to be in snow.
There you
go. It melts off slow.
Okay. But, going back to Field and Stream, honestly, when I was in high school, I can say this and be very emphatic about it. When the new Field and Stream or the new Outdoor Life came out, there was absolutely a fight as to who would get a hold of it first in the library.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a big hunting and fishing area.
I guess that's true. I was thinking back about that in high school, and I hadn't thought about that for a long time.
Yeah.
That's true.
But with the lack of, I hate to say interest, but the lack of people getting involved in hunting and the lack of people getting involved in fishing and camping, etc., those magazines have got to take a hit.
Well, but the funny thing is we think that there's lack, but this locavore, you ever heard that word, locavore?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a big word. Eaten locally, food that comes from locavores.
Why didn't you just say so I understood if we eat locally?
Eaten locally, or harvesting your own meat, or eating organic.
And having water for fish.
And having water for fish. Those, because of that, we've actually seen a big increase. Are starting to see an increase, a growing population of people. I mean, you start watching some of these TV shows and things like that, these outdoor channel shows and things like that. They're actually getting a lot more people. I mean, there's a large group of people that are starting to get involved in trying to harvest their own meat and do things like that.
True.
And so we're actually seeing kind of an uptick in that. And there's still, there's a huge drive for trophy animals and stuff like that in certain areas, but we're getting more of these meat and potato type hunts that people are getting more interested in also.
I see. We're visiting with Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game. It's our monthly review of everything that's coming up, and it's going to be our last visit for 2014. And the Fish and Game got an Outdoor Life Award for Access Yes program. And we've also talked about the hunting season updates. And I have a question for you right after I do a commercial break.
Sounds good.
Merry Christmas wishes from Butte Irrigation, 116 South, 600 West of Paul and Kimberly Road, your Zomatic dealer for all your irrigation needs. They will get you wet. Over 35 years of experience, Butte Irrigation wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. And Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul, and gift certificates for next year's growing season. What a great idea for stocking stuffers. Call Vicky today at 438-5663. Vicky's Country Garden. And Mount Harrison Audiology at 1218 9th Street, Unit 2, right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room. Number to call to have your hearing checked. Hey, what'd you say? 312-0957. And make this Christmas season better so that you can hear more. Call her today. Mount Harrison Audiology, serving you and wishing you a very Merry Christmas. I was very forthright in and honest with you, when you came in the door, I had quite a few calls in the last couple of weeks before this program, and some were from city people, some were from some country people, and some from your sportsmen. And I was shocked that about 9 different calls came in and said the hunting seasons are too long for deer and elk. How do you respond to that?
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah.
We have this discussion often on the length of the seasons. I look at these folks over in 55, and if you're a landowner over there, you're having folks, you could potentially have folks knocking on your door from August 15th until the end of this week.
Really?
Because we start August 15th with a velvet buck hunt. Then we have some time off that we have because we don't have an archery season over there. Well, see, it goes till September 15th, so there's about 15 days off, but now we got an elk season going on over there, over-the-counter elk season, so there's really not a break because 15th and then August 31st, you start elk, and then October 5th, you start rifle deer, and then you have another rifle deer, and then, just about 3 weeks ago, we had a archery hunt start over there, a late season archery hunt. And what we're trying to do is, just to kind of set, we had a guy come in with a video that he had put together that he wanted to have a spear season.
A spear
season. And we have people that want to have specialty pistol or short-range weapon hunts.
And people don't have to wear bones in their noses or their ears or anything,
just
do they?
you.
I see.
And so part of the reason for the length of the seasons we're trying to do, we know exactly how many animals, not exactly, but we have a good guesstimate on how many animals are out there. So we know how many we want to remove from these populations to keep them healthy and strong. And sometimes I do believe that we get them a little long. I look at Montana, though. They've got a 6-week archery season, and then they follow right up behind it with a 6-week rifle season.
I'm of the opinion that
they're hunting 12 weeks, and that's roughly what we're doing also. And so I don't know that it's right, wrong, or I do know on harder winters that it really impacts the overall condition of the deer.
Okay, let's take a call and see what they have to say. Good morning, you're on the air. Thanks for calling. Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, too. I was wondering how the wolf population is and how it's affecting the wildlife. I'm going to hang up and listen to your comment on the radio.
All right, sir. Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you and your family. We'll segue to that real quick. What have been the reports on wolf predation, plus also the taking of the wolves?
We've had. I haven't been keeping track as much on the number of wolves. In years past, we usually end up taking about 250, somewhere around there, with sportsmen, and then trapping has really increased.
Does that include the numbers for rifle and trapping?
Yeah, trapping. Trapping is actually on its way up. And I've had one of my buddies, he just got one a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, called it in. He shot it at 6 yards. And so it was pretty cool.
6 yards?
Mm-hmm.
18 feet?
Yeah, it may have been closer than that. He said it's probably closer to 6 feet. And it was right up close and personal.
Why? Was this wolf trying to predate him?
He thought he was because of what he was using, the call that he was using, but as a mouth call.
When is there a time to possibly realize whether you're calling that kind of a species or whatever that might eat you, that maybe they're close enough?
That's what makes it fun, Zeb. I've had friends call in mountain lions. I've got one buddy that's harvested 3 mountain lions by predator call.
6 feet is going to give you an exact tooth count as to what they have left in their head.
Yeah, but they're coming in looking for supper.
There is a point.
Well, I know, but I don't know. It's one of... Mountain lion hunters have no issue climbing a tree and grabbing a cat's tail if their dogs put the cat on the tree.
Okay. That brings a visual here. That brings a visual. You're what, 6'3", 6'4"?
6'4".
6'4", and I would find you'd have to have a tree the size of a redwood to support you.
Well, they climb a big pine tree and the branches are close.
And you would go up a tree and try to grab a cat by a tail.
I have. I used to run hounds all the time. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things when you get bored.
Does this happen to a lot of students that graduate from Utah State University?
This happens just to a lot of lion hunters. This is one of the ways. I guarantee that Ken Jaffick over in Malta has pulled a few cattails.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And when you're up there deciding that you're going to pull the tail of the cat,
you don't do it hard. You're not trying to. It's just to say you did it.
Just to say you did it.
Yeah,
I see.
Didn't you climb on bulls? Didn't you climb on bulls?
Wait a minute. The irrelevance.
No, did you climb on bulls?
No. I was smarter than most. I just stayed with the horses.
Yeah, bucking horses. Oh, wait, that are trying to kick you in the head when you go off the back. Okay, yeah, it's just one and the same.
I mean, you're about 30 feet off the ground climbing a tree, and there's a cat up there.
Sometimes it gets pretty wild, because sometimes you come down the tree really quick, especially if the cat decides.
Yeah, he wants to change branches and use yours.
Yeah. And I've watched people come down like cartoons, going, hitting branches on the way down.
The fun part of this whole thing is just grabbing them by the tail.
Just reaching up and touching it. I mean, you don't pull on it. You're not trying to jerk them out of the tree. You're actually trying to let your buddies see you touch it without the cat knowing it.
Have you thought about psychotherapy?
Well, you can ask the same about you. It's just everybody, I've climbed on rough stock. I mean, it's just one of those things.
You get a kick out of this.
That's why women don't get injured as much as men. They're smarter.
I mean, I got to see this sometime. That would be absolutely entertaining.
You'd be hard pressed. I'm more mature now.
Really?
Yeah, I would chase cats.
Pardon us, we hadn't noticed.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Yeah, I'm matured enough that I can't get out of the tree quite as quick. Yeah, I've seen some pretty funny. I had a hound that used to actually climb the trees and try to get the cats.
Really?
In the tree. One of my buddies.
A dog.
He's a 98-pound black and tan, 100-pound black and tan. Yeah. He'd get up there. One of my buddies had never been cat hunting with us. Walked into the tree, and the dog hit a really light branch and landed on him, and he hit the ground flat. And then it was very cartoonish, because he thought it was the cat, because it was dark in the timber.
So he gets up and shoots your dog?
No, he got up and took off running. And then it's like we were laughing.
I'm having a hard time trying to keep it composed here this morning. We've got to send it back over to our main studios just in time. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Our dear friend Lucky Bourne with Wiltran Incorporated wants to remind everybody they have positions available for qualified drivers, and the drivers must have 2 years driving experience. Load and unload pay, electronic logs, drivers paid weekly, and all you have to do is contact Lucky Bourne at 639-6411, 639-6411, or stop in at the office at 529 F Street in Rupert. Wiltran Incorporated, looking for experienced drivers. You call them today, 639-6411. Also, our thanks go out to the Burley Area Merchants Association, Bama. Wonderful people, and they're saying, hey, we've got everything you could possibly want for Christmas. So stop in and support your friends and neighbors who own local businesses. Shop them first, and it'll help boost local employment, help the economic development of the area, and really fosters a great sense of community. Don't forget your Burley Area Merchants Association, Bama, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. And right now, we go back to the man that sat down with Buck Owens years ago and wrote that song, I've Got a Tiger by the Tail. Here's Kelton Hatch. Good morning again, Kelton.
Good morning. Hey, one thing before we get going, if I could finish answering that gentleman's question about the wolves.
We got sidetracked.
We got sidetracked just a little bit.
Sorry.
But no, it's fine. It's your show.
No, but you messed it up.
Well, thanks. That hurts. No, the wolf numbers, I mean, in our front ranges, wolf numbers are becoming more manageable. I mean, we've got populations of them, but we're actually seeing good increases on our elk numbers. Partially, some of that's due to, the fires that we've had, and so we're having higher calving success. But, you look at 49, 48, 43, elk numbers are really starting to increase. And we do have a lot of control actions in there because wolves, if they bite a cow, we bring in wildlife services or sheep and remove those packs. When you start looking at Unit 27 and 21A and some of those units up in the backcountry, we're still in we've got to come up with a better plan. We're going to
better management.
Better manage. I don't know. It's we actually hired a government trapper. We had a trapper that was in there. It was really difficult. I think he's in there for 2 months and only killed 7.
Ooh.
Only trapped 7 wolves.
Really?
It's big country. If you've never been into the Frank Church Wilderness, it's just really.
It's El Bigo.
It's really big. It's steep and deep. 4 million acres between the Selway and the Frank.
Yeah.
And so we're actually going to try to get helicopters. We're working with U.S.
It's more than
Forest Service.
4,000 acres.
4 million, I said.
Yeah, you said, I thought you said 4,000.
4,000, but it's 4 million.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to work with the Forest Service, and hopefully we can get radio collars in there to actually document the number of packs that we have back in there, because it seems strange, but that's one of our hardest things. I may have mentioned this before, but in order to be able to have a documented pack, we have to have 15. We try to keep closer to 18 or 19 that we know documented, because when hunting season comes, a documented pack is a pack that's got a male and a female and two pups that live from the date of birth until January 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you have to go into the dens and see the pups, or see the pups near the dens, and then you have to be able to document that it's the same pack January 1 with those pups.
Okay.
And so,
all right. We have a caller with another question. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Merry Christmas.
Thank you there, Zeb. I was wanting to ask Kelton there about those northern zones that are so impacted by them wolves. I know they're trying to get that. Are the elk numbers going to take quite a while to get back, or before they can get back, do you have to get the wolves out of there, or what's going on up there? Because I just talked to a lot of friends. They're not hunting up there anymore. They're not seeing anything, especially the Selway area, and in that area, it's just made it terrible to hunt. But is the Fish and Game got a program to try to eliminate them out of there so we can have that back historically?
We'll have him answer that over the phone, or over the air, I should say. God bless you and Merry Christmas, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Go ahead, Kelton, if you would.
Those are really... We're very concerned about those areas. We've got a multitude of issues that are going on there. Number one, we got heavy timber.
Yeah.
The wolf packs, they're really hard to remove. We don't have a lot of cattle up there, so we don't have a lot of depredation on livestock and things like that. We need some fires, and that sounds weird. If they're not going to let us log it and go in there and remove some of the timber, we've got to open up some grazable ground for those elk up in that country. And so we have really low reproduction, and then the reproduction we have are being heavily impacted by wolves. And so, there's a lot of issues. That's where our trapping has really taken hold up there, but we're actually seeing pack size get smaller, and we're starting to see higher depredations, or higher kills on moose and whitetail and elk up in those areas. And so it's gonna be tough to get that really straightened out up there. And so hopefully we can get more folks out trapping and hunting wolves. And people say, oh well, the Fish and Game needs to go up there. The hard part is there's X amount of us doing other jobs, and so we do try to hire some people, and a lot of our staff are very avid, we do have quite a few staff that have harvested wolves and hunt for them, but we just need to get a few more sportsmen out there to help us on the management.
Absolutely. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fish and Game, his weekly trek to the poor country, and monthly. Did I say weekly?
Yeah.
kind of like your 4,000 acres. But anyhow, trophy species meeting December 18th. That is tomorrow for heaven's sake.
This is perfect timing. Folks, if you're interested in coming, go to fishandgame.idaho.gov. We have a link on there that has all trophy possible changes for sheep, moose, and goat. One thing that's kind of exciting for this area, we're actually proposing to have 2 moose tags in Unit 54.
You told me that last year.
I did.
It's coming to fruition.
And we're going to be taking comments on that. We're going to be at the office from noon till 7 tomorrow, so you can just stop by anytime. You can come in and look at the statewide proposals, or you can go online and make comments. If you're coming by the office, stop in and say hi. We've got a couple new biologists that'll be working and talking to folks. I'm going to sneak off and go hunting myself.
I'm going to stop over and get my Christmas present.
Okay, do.
Yeah.
Do.
I wonder whose office it'll be in.
Yeah, okay. I've got a booby trap at the door.
But seriously, they're going to have 2 tags for moose in 54.
We're looking at that.
Looking at it.
And so we just, that's what our proposal is. If we get the support and from the sportsmen and stuff like that, that's what we'll go with.
Great.
And then if you've got comments on the upcoming big game seasons, I'm missing part of the meeting right now. As soon as I'm done here, I'm headed back to the office, and we're starting our preliminary meetings for big game seasons for deer, elk.
So that's the harvest reports and the big game season planning?
Yep, and so we're starting on that right now. And so when you're in there talking about bighorn sheep and moose tags, if you got some ideas for next year's deer, elk, and antelope hunts, just make those comments available for the biologists that are talking to you, and we're going to start forming strategies for next year.
Okay, Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fish and Game, would welcome and relish your phone calls. I got to tell you something, Kelton, and we'll take that call in just a minute. One of my favorite places to go, and this is no kidding, is Sportsman's Warehouse. I'll bet you that's one of your favorite stores. Reese and the rest of the crew, they've got everything in there. Whether you're over in the gun department, the fishing department, the backpacking department, they've got some fantastic knives in there, too. A great selection of knives. They have, for your Christmas gift giving, everything for the sportsman, everything. And when you go in there, at every department, you're going to find people that really have the expert advice. They know what they're talking about. Stop in at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. They have everything for the outdoorsman. Everything. As a matter of fact, I'm headed in there later on today. Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb and Colton.
Morning.
Anyway, I was wondering about this moose hunt for disabled people, and I was wondering what other requirements to get a license. That means I can't walk up the hill very far, but I'm going to hang up and let's see.
All right, we'll talk about that on the air, sir, and thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas. I have had, since you were on the air the last time, too, I've made a little note here. There's been quite a few people that, unfortunately, have physical challenges, and myself included, that feel like little by little they're being pushed away from enjoying the great outdoors. And how would you respond to that, caller, as far as hunting is concerned, with the aid of an ATV?
We have a shoot from a vehicle permit.
Yeah.
And you can get that shoot from the vehicle permit, and that allows you to be driving up, any of our local roads and things like that, pull off to the shoulder, and you can actually shoot from inside your truck. We actually have a new permit that's allowed now that is to give to an assistant hunter. So like if you're going up the road, Zeb, and you see a deer and you shoot the deer and you wound it, but it goes in an area that you can't physically get to, the person that has that permit can go render that animal to bag and put your tag on it and help you retrieve it.
So it's basically a hunter assistance program.
So we know that we get more and more use in the South Hills all the time. I didn't know there's been some debates over some of the roads that have been closed and some of the trails that have been closed and things like that. We don't have any ATV or motorized vehicle restriction rules down there. I don't know. I think this is one of those problems that if you've got some solutions or some ideas, come into our big game meetings and talk to us. Because I know, like up in Montana, they've got a lot of closed areas, but like the Forest Service closes these areas, then they issue keys to people with disabilities to be able to drive into those areas. And, you know, I don't see a problem with something like that, but that's something that we need to work through with the Forest Service, and we just need to get kind of some support on that to go forward.
Appreciate your answer on that. Thank you for the call, sir, and good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I spend the summers north of Fairfield, about 20 miles in the hills there. And if I called his office and asked him where Wolfpack was, would he tell me?
We'll answer that on the air. Go ahead, Kelly.
We'll give you, as close as I know, I'll tell you areas that we know that we've had them frequent. We know areas where they pass through. We're not we can't give you a radio frequency, you know, to use a tracking radio, because, I mean, that would make it illegal. I mean, it would be on the harvest, but no, we have no issues on telling people on ideas where to go at all.
I tell you where to go all the time.
You do.
I do.
You know, right now, if I was to be chasing wolves around, I'd probably, anywhere that I spot a herd of elk, I'd be glassing above them. And that's how we've killed 3 that way, you know, just locating wolves that are bedded down above herds of elk.
Any reports in the recent past about wolves moving in here to the South Hills because of the abundance of the deer and the elk? You know,
we get reports all the time. An established pack, I have no doubt in my mind that there's been wolves that have moved through that area. As an established pack, I can't even fathom it down there, because we've just got way too many hunters that drive through there. No one's ever killed a wolf down there, and we've never had a depredation claim from a rancher or that run sheep or cattle down there that have ever had one killed by a wolf. And once you get, I'll put it this way, cows and sheep, a lot easier to kill if you're a toothed animal than chasing down an elk or deer.
Absolutely. Caller, I know you're there. I know you're going to have a little patience with us. We beg of you. I have to do a weather forecast really fast, and I'll be right to you. Your call is next. Stand by. Weather this hour is brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, and they guarantee everything they sell. Selling taste one bite at a time. Don't forget to order a Christmas box from Scarrows Meats. Different prices, different delicious meats from Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. Good morning. Cloudy chance of meatballs for today. I've always wanted to say that. I've always wanted to say that. There's a movie called Cloudy Chance of Meatballs. Well, that's what you got for today. You got a chance for a lot of meatballs for tomorrow. Cloudy today. Temperature is still pretty much holding up like it did throughout much of the week, with daytime highs in the mid to upper 40s. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 20s. Other than that, chance of snow for tomorrow. Come out of it on Friday. Looking pretty darn good. Got partly sunny conditions, and you walk right back in with cloudy conditions. Chance of rain/snow for Saturday and Sunday. Enjoy the weather. Still the weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Delicious, delicious meats. Selling taste one bite at a time. 324-7657. Caller, as promised, you're up first. Go ahead, please.
How are you, Zeb?
Good, thank you.
Good. Hey, Kelton, where's all the elk hiding up in Oakley? I haven't seen none around, and I went out and beat the brush and wore my horse out 3 or 4 days in a row, and can't come across nothing. Where are they hiding?
Probably back in Nevada.
That's where I found them, was in Nevada and Utah.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing is going on. Their seasons have closed. They had a pretty heavy season going on there during our deer seasons and their elk seasons down there, and we pushed a lot back across the border. There's still quite a few up in the South Hills and things like that, but they're not in that cow tag zone, around the ag fields and stuff. And until we get some snow, it's going to be pretty tough for folks that are still hunting that zone cow tag, just because those elk are there's really no reason to come down to ag fields right now because there's no snow in the hills and there's good grass.
Okay. Caller, Merry Christmas to you. Good to hear from you. He's gone. Okay, we have another call waiting, though. We've got a lot of good calls
today.
A
lot of folks. It's nice to talk
good
to
morning. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to report that there were 2 wolves out there in Mendocino Reservoir last year. There's about ran them over. So, just to say that they're in this area right now. So.
All right, sir. And again, thank you for your call back. I also had some calls that they spotted wolves over there.
Oh, and we know we've had wolves down all across the desert.
Yeah.
We get reports down there. We've got verification of wolves down there. There's just no established packs. They're just passing through.
Real quick, we've still got a couple of topics to go through, and if you took the time to double space this and type it so it's legible, I feel honored that I can help. Hunter education classes, real quick.
If you need a hunter ed class, got bunches of them online right now for get your folks registered that need them.
Is there a qualification whether it's kids or adults they have to?
Well, as long as if you want to hunt other states, a lot of other states, regardless of your age, require hunter ed. Yeah. And so if you've got a kid or a person that was born after 75, I would just take the class if I'm sitting in there with them and get certified myself in case I want to go one of these other states.
There you go.
We're not making any money off them. I mean, they're only $8 for classes, but you can go online and register. We got volunteer instructors that are done with their hunting season, so classes are kicking off.
Okay, and then also at the bottom of the list, which we have managed to prevail through, hunting licenses for Christmas.
Okay.
Your mother and dad used to do that for you.
Every year. And
stocking stuffer.
Stocking. Well, no, that was my Christmas.
That was your main Christmas?
They did. They bought me the sportsman's pack.
Can't fill a stocking that you wear for Pete's
sakes. I know. They put a couple oranges in there.
Yeah.
So to fill it up a little bit. But, a hunting license, you got to have one January 1. I've already purchased mine.
What do you mean you got to have one January 1?
Well, if you want to go hunting January 1, you got to have a brand new one.
Okay, but I mean, I've still got time later to...
You do.
Yeah.
But, but right now we've got gift certificates. You can buy gift certificates at Fish and Game for hunting licenses, or most of our vendors offer gift certificates that you can buy there. And then and just say, hey, Merry Christmas, this is your hunt license.
That's nice.
I bought enough. I put enough on this card to buy you a sportsman's pack or a combination, and they can use these.
Do you do that for your kids?
You bet. Well, they just have it. They get a hunting combination hunting license in their stocking.
Really?
Oh, you bet.
So they act surprised.
No, because they've been getting them ever since they was old enough to get a hunt license.
Thanks, Dad.
It's like it's kind of one of those things. I said, hand them to me so we don't lose them in the paper.
The funny thing is, why do you even bother putting them in the stocking?
Because I spent money on them, and it's part of their Christmas.
Is there anything?
I think it's important. That's a tradition in my family.
Yeah.
I don't want them to get a ticket from me if they go hunting January 1 without a hunting license.
I wouldn't mind getting a fishing license right away, too, if I knew McGargle was going to take me fishing.
What? You could get one right away, and we'd take you ice fishing. The ice is nice.
There's no chances for that. Put your shanty over there.
Hey, Zeb, go check that ice. It looks pretty solid right there.
Fine. What happened to the guy on crutches? Blub, 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 blub.
The lead crutches?
No, seriously. McGargle, if you're listening, this next summer I'm going to hold you to that fishing excursion.
You need to. We'll hold his feet to the fire.
Hey, next month, is there any way we can get the new guy here?
I'm going to try my hardest. Toby Boudreau is our new regional supervisor, and he's just been busier than a one-legged man in a soccer contest.
Easy about one-legged men.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. And so, but he told me today that he was hoping to be able to make it next month. I'm going to give him the date.
Is he listening?
No, he's at his big game meeting. We started that big game meeting at the same time the radio show
Why
started.
don't they pipe it in? It'd be very informative for them.
Yeah, you guys wouldn't want to listen to that because it'll go on for about 3-4 hours.
No, I mean our program into their meeting.
Oh, I don't want that to happen. I try, and then they tease me.
Okay.
There's too many of the staff there.
No, but seriously, let's get him over here. and introduce him
I'll
to
try to get
everybody.
him here, and Mark Dorr also.
Are you surprised? Just landed on your head, which is probably fitting, but there are flies flying around in here this morning.
This is the only place.
This is crazy.
This is the only crazy place I've been around flies for a couple of months.
Easy now, be nice. Hey, we're going to have more with Kelton Hatch if we can stand it. Right after I tell everybody about your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of wintertime driving traction tires. You know what? They might be advertising where the weather is, maybe about summertime traction tires. You never know.
Well, no doubt.
Holy cow. I'll tell you what, you stop in for all your driving needs this winter and check out the best in brake service, absolutely the best in brake service, the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts, everything right there at all 7 locations. They really care. They really know all about the different tires. They know about your driving conditions and what would best benefit you. Stop in and talk to the professionals. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland and Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers.
I was going to say the roads are pretty slick this morning, though. The hoarfrost that was on this morning,
it can get pretty slippery.
The 6 this morning, it was pretty slippery.
Of course, that's unusual for you to be driving at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, usually I'm gone by about 6 or 6:30.
Oh, come on now.
Seriously.
You've only fluffed the pillow up for the 3rd time at 6 o'clock. Isn't that true?
No, because I'm kind of early to bed, early to rise.
I bet you don't get up as early as we do.
I'm not as old as you.
What's that got to do with it?
That I can still sleep and have a clear conscience.
I hope you're enjoying your last time on my program.
Don't have to run to the privy 14 times a night yet.
Well, we really go into all aspects of life right here on this program. Anyway, thank you, Kelton, for bringing that up. Any final words before we leave the last time for 2014?
I just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks for the gift.
You bet. My presence being here talking with you, Zeb. And
that's all we could unwrap.
It's always enjoyable, and I appreciate the calls, and it's good to come out here and be able to, hopefully people get something out of it.
I only can wish for you and your family, and I mean this seriously. You've been a good sport. You've taken a lot of heat on this program, and you've emerged through the flames victorious, and that's Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fishing Game. Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, big day tomorrow. Don't miss it. Start 8:06, saddle the horse, ride for 3 hours, and, of course, don't forget, the way things were, the way things ought to be. Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Ho, ho, ho.